Hey guys, this is the Ecron Writer here. Welcome you back to another OBS project. And this one happens to be a crossover with Dissidia Final Fantasy and Shadowgate from the title song I just played. Anyways, I came up with this crossover since like 9 years ago, actually. And this actually takes place after the events of Dissidia Duodecim, as well as the original Dissidia, which is the prequel to that. So, this is something I came up with since 2011, actually. And I was going through, it's a very tumultuous time back then. So, before I get to that, let's get on with the story, shall we? Alright, Dissidia Shadowgate. Here's the prologue. Cosmos, now I know what you've left behind. The 10 warriors watched the god of discord Chaos wither in pain. The edge of madness, Chaos's shrine, started to tremble. There were numerous explosions all around them. The world was collapsing, and suddenly the crystals started to glow as bright as day. One by one, the 10 pawns of Cosmos started to disappear in flashes of light. They heard the fallen god's last words. "Begone, mortals!" There was nothing but whiteness. The castle loomed in the distance. After a few seconds, they ended up in a lush, fertile field where all kinds of flowers and trees grew. A sparkling clear lake was behind them, and the weather was pleasant. A cool breeze blew, and birds sang their peaceful tunes in the air. The warriors looked stunned at their new surroundings. They were at the Cornelia Plains. The warrior of light, the leader of the group, sighed in relief for the first time. Battle has come to an end. Then the heroes congratulated themselves as they remembered the fate of the fallen warriors in the previous cycle. If you've guys seen Dissidia Duodecim, the prequel to the original Dissidia, you should know this. Lightning, a pink-haired soldier, Kane, a dragoon, Yuna, a summoner, Vaughn, a wannabe sky pirate, Laguna, a gun wielder, and Tifa, a fist brawler, each laid lifelessly on a grassy field at Order's sanctuary. The Warrior of Light watched as they each glowed, risen, and faded as a dragon made of radiant light claimed them, which happened to be Shinryu, aka the giant reset button. Lightning was the last one as she smiled at him and dissipated. He bowed his head sadly since they never returned. Terra, a young girl of magics, brought him out of his reverie as she laid a hand on his broad shoulder. "Hey, why do you look so sad?" "It's nothing you would want to know." There was a pause. "Did someone die?" "Yes." "Is it Cosmos?" "Hey, guys." Bart, the mimic warrior, curiously marched up to the duo. "I just remembered something. There were some other warriors besides us. We haven't seen them in a while. Do you know where they went?" Soon that same question brought everyone's attention. They stopped talking to one another and everything became silent. Within a deep breath, he turned toward his friends. "Everyone, I have some horrible news for you. In the previous cycle, there were other warriors of Cosmos besides us. In total, there were 6. I wasn't going to tell you before facing chaos because this is very tragic. These other men and women befriended and trusted us. Their mission was to stop Chaos's forces and obtain the crystals. But instead, they've decided to stop the endless horde of mannequins. Those brave souls journeyed to the center of the interdimensional rift. They destroyed the portal and connected their world to ours. Once it was closed, each one gave their last ounce of strength, then perished. Their souls were lifted and never seen again. Everyone can barely speak. Cloud, Cecil, Titus, Furion, and Terra had flashbacks on how they first met the fallen warriors, and were devastated since they didn't even say goodbye. The paladin fell to his knees and his face reddened as he tried to hold back his tears. Kane, you're gone? Terra sobbed as she covered her face. Vaughn! Can't believe you're dead! Cloud was the most stupefied. Tifa, I didn't get a chance to. For the first time he cried as a small tear dropped from the corner of his eye. Her death reminded him of his old friend Zack as he passed on. Furion bowed his head so low he was actually looking at the roots rather than the wild roses. He held his flower close to his heart and whimpered, Lightning, I promise I'll make a grave and give the rose to you. Your death shall not be in vain. He swiped his eyes with the back of his hand. Squall was the only one who didn't cry. In fact, his face showed no emotion at all. On the outside, he looked like he didn't care about Laguna's death, but deep down he was a wreck. He wished he'd known him more and gotten to know his jokes and light-heartedness. He sat and sulked under a tree with his gun blade stuck in the ground. This would make a mediocre memorial. Titus turned away from the group to hide his emotions. Yuna, I never got to know you, nor understood you, but I'll always remember you. Summoner, cried Hard. No one noticed since they were wrapped up in their grief. They weren't aware of their crystals as they glowed and made their tears glisten in the light. One by one, everybody disappeared to their correspondent worlds. Or so they thought. When the warriors disappeared, Cosmos' voice was heard. It was kind of strange since chaos perished her. Warriors of harmony, you've defeated the god of discord and brought peace to the world. The crystals bestowed you the strength to do so. But I have given you one more task. Before you return to your homes, you must meet the wizard of the castle of Stormhaven. He will provide you information about your next quest, to investigate the fortress of Shadowgate. If you succeed, you will all go back to your homes you once knew. However, if you fail, you will perish. Go to the castle. Your journey awaits you. When they opened their eyes, they realized they were still together in a deep forest. They looked at their surroundings in awe. We're still together, but where are we? As they found themselves, they noticed that the Warrior of Light was no longer with them. Why isn't he with us? It seems that Cornelia Plains was his home world, and the crystals left us here. The last thing I remember was Cosmos speaking to me. She said we should find a castle called Stormhaven and talk to someone there. Might as well, if that is what she wishes. Over the tall trees. How can I overlook this? Over the tall trees there was a bright castle with white towers. The pawns went straight to it. After entering a clearing, a gateway awaited them. Lightning, Vaughn, Yuna, Laguna, Tifa, and Kane were sitting in the courtyard. They were discussing on how and why they ended up being here instead of their homes. What are we doing here? Shouldn't we be in our homeworlds by now? I actually thought we'd be dead, since we closed the portal to the rift. That may be so, but it seems like we've been given a second chance. All I can remember is seeing a bright light and heard Cosmos speaking to me. Yes, I remember it too. Maybe we were all still alive. I might be able to see Titus and Sir Jecht after all. Don't dwell on that. We're still here, and the wizard told us to stay here until the other warriors show up. At least there are no mannequins. But we're still in this strange world. Maybe we're not alive, but rather in purgatory. I'm not sure why we have to stay here. It feels like forever since we destroyed that portal. I wish we could just go home already if it wasn't for Cosmos's last words." Then everyone stopped talking and looked perplexed as they sat like a bunch of inanimate dolls. Meanwhile, Firion and the others wandered the outside of the castle, seeing bards and townsfolk passing by. As they passed, they stopped and stared. They have never seen these people before and wondered where they came from. "Is this the place?" "Looks like it." Jester stepped in front of them and said in a joyful tone, "Hi! Welcome to Stormhaven! Ooh, you must be weary from your travels. Why don't you rest at our courtyard and stand before our holiness Lakmir when you are ready? Ta-ta!" "That sure isn't like Kefka." "No, that is actually a real jester." "And we are in Stormhaven. We're in the right place." "Let's rest for a couple minutes and meet ourselves to the king. We've been traveling for miles." As they went over the drawbridge and through the massive doors, the castle was full of activity. Chickens clucked in their coops, peasants were busy at work. Some of them were talking rumors about the land being threatened by an evil being. This reminded Cecil of Baron, and Firion reminisced about the strongholds of Finn and Altair. As they walked on, 2 guards in navy blue armor stood on each side of the next room, close by a door with a circular handle. One asked, "May I help all of ye? What brings you here to Stormhaven?" Firion stepped forward. We're looking for the wizard Lakmir. We wish to see him." "Bah! How do we know you're not messengers of the dreaded Warlock Lord?" "The who? The what?" "I'm sorry, travelers, but we've been in peril by the Warlock and his minions. They lurk from a dark castle known as Shadowgate." "Shadowgate! That was the castle Cosmos was talking about. We're here to help. We've heard about Shadowgate from a fallen goddess." "Then it must be true. You're all welcome to stand before him. My pardons." Slowly the doors opened and the team went in. Lightning and her comrades heard the rumble of the opening doors. They shielded their eyes as they made out an army of warriors. As their eyes cleared, they saw Firion, Terra, Cloud, Titus, Wall, Cecil, and the others standing before them. "It's them! They're here!" They walked to them and embraced them as they talked all at once on how and why they got here. As the conversation quieted, "Where is he?" "Oh, you mean the warrior? He didn't come with us. He stayed at Cornelia and left us here." "Well, that's a relief. I was never too fond about him and his fairy tales anyway. Although I should warn you that Kane is..." Before she finished, there were trumpets blowing. The same gesture appeared. "Hear ye! The warriors of Stormhaven has come!" Walked to them and escorted them to the throne room. "Please come with me." A tiny mage with pointy ears put her hands on her hips, and on the other side there was a young elven girl with long purple hair. She beamed with delight as she greeted herself. "What's up, y'all? I'm Pritch, one of the so-called warriors summoned by this guy over here. Ahem. My name is Shantoto. Can't you see? It's going to take a while to get along with me." What are you doing here?" "Oh, we came to help you on this quest that Cosmos assigned us to. And this wizard here will explain it all. Take it away, Highness." She did the air quotes. The majestic wizard stood up and put his tall wand aside. He waved his hands and said, "Within the castle Shadowgate lies your quest. The dreaded Warlock Lord will use his black magic to raise the behemoth from the depths. A combination of his evil arts and the great Titan's power will surely destroy all of the world. You are all the last of the line of our defense, the seeds of prophecy that were foretold eons ago. Only you can stop the evil one from darkening our world forever." Firion declared to stop the warlock and bring peace to the kingdom and beyond. "We will do it!" If it's to save this world and many others, that was a wish from a fallen goddess, and we shall fulfill it. I've assigned these two fine mages to assist thee. Please stop the Dark Warlock and the Behemoth. Will do. Fare thee well. And the weapon master and his party were off to the castle. He wished there were some chocobos to make the journey more faster, but they had no choice but to go on foot. Well, here's the Dissidia crossover. This takes place after the 12th and 13th cycles. As the conflict drew to a close, everyone realized there were still some warriors that have fallen recently, particularly these guys. And that was the plot to Dissidia Duodecim. Now all of them wound up in Stormhaven for a final mission from Cosmos, a last hurrah before they return to home, if successful. Hope you guys will like this fic, and hey, the warriors have been defeated in Duodecim, so they gotta go somewhere, right? I never believed them to be dead. It really bothered me so much. I didn't like the plot to Duodecim. It was so bad. So, about this story, I've written this like 9 years ago, and at that time, my father and my ex-stepmom got into a very lethal dispute, and next thing we knew, we've actually been separated once for the first time. And I never got along with my ex-stepmom. Our relationship has been very toxic, and during an argument, a very lethal altercation, we separated. And we had a temporary restraining order, even though it was supposed to be permanent. We stayed separated for about 10 days. And at that time, I was playing Dissidia Duodecim, for the PSP, along with the original. They were stored on the memory card, so I can play them both, but at that time, I was playing Dissidia, especially the second one, Duodecim, the prequel, and my mind, in order to cope with it, just came up with this story. So, for 10 days, I've actually written the prologue in a few chapters, but I never finished it until like several years later. I mean, the final battle and the epilogue were tough, which you will see later on. So, that's the story for that. So, next time, Furion and his party will enter the foreboding castle of Shadowgate. See you all then.